Hello, my brood. So, the other day we talked a little bit about subjective experience and how, despite there being a literal definition to words, what that word means to me, what it means to you, what it means to anyone, can be varied based on our experiences as we go along through this world. And so, I wanted to take another minute today and talk about something called deictic frames. And as a reminder, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a mental health professional, I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist. I'm just a person who's interested in sharing in my own knowledge and experience that I've gained along the way. So, in the world of deictic frames, we look at things as me or you. We look at things like here or there. We look at something like now or before. And so we can start to combine these things and say me here now and you here now. Or we can say me in school 20 years ago, or you at work 5 years ago. And what this allows us to do is to look at the experiences that we had up to that point, look at the experiences that we've had since that point. It lets us understand what was going on in a circumstance, what led up to us making some decision or action or having a behavior, or all of those same things applied to someone else that we're looking at. And so, using myself, for example, me here now, a year and 3 months ago, I got diagnosed with autism. I went through a long amount of therapy and doing psychoeducational research to learn about myself. It's been a process. But me 20 years ago in school, there are people who are so clearly now in my memory autistic, but they couldn't get a diagnosis, and I didn't give them the patience that they deserved. Maybe I was bothered by one of their stims, and I didn't understand that they were doing it because they needed that comfort, right? And similarly, people were bothered by my stims. Even probably other autistic people were bothered by my stims. But me here now is able to look back at me there then and understand what the difference was. It's able to give me a perspective to say, I was 8 years old, I was 9 years old, I was 10 years old. I was going through my whole world of difficult problems and social experiences. It makes sense in the context that I was in. Me here now, I have a greater understanding, a greater patience, a greater compassion for what's going on in the world around. And when I have that perspective, I'm able to look back at the past me and have some forgiveness for it. And the same can be true of the people that we're surrounded with. You there then may have done something that upset me. But when I'm able to look beyond the me here now and look at you there then, I can say, well, you were going through a tough time. You had just come out from multiple days, multiple weeks of stress. Maybe you didn't have the knowledge or the understanding. Maybe you thought you were doing what was best in that moment. It gives me a chance to look back and not necessarily relieve a person from the responsibility of something that's happened, but to at least have some understanding about why it happened, right? And that's not to say that we're automatically going to forgive everybody and let everything go. But I think that when we start asking ourselves these questions about why did they do that to me, it makes it a lot easier to be able to frame it with these deictic frames. And similarly, when we say things like, why did I do that? It makes it easier when we're able to separate the me here now from the me there then. I think that there's an additional part to this that can be really, really helpful. And that comes when we hypothesize and fantasize and, just imagine what our future might look like. So, me here now, me here 1 year from now, obviously, I don't have such clairvoyance to look forward and see what the future will hold, but I can say, well, me 1 year from now will have all of this experience plus an opportunity to learn more about A, B, and C that I don't really understand. I can set a goal for myself, or multiple goals, or just things that I want to learn about, or understand, or improve on. And so, even though I might not achieve those things, me here now can definitively say that there are things in the future that me there then will want. And when I get there, a year from now, I can look back at the past me and say, well, we didn't get as far, but there's a reason. There were these things that I didn't anticipate. Maybe I went through a period of depression. Maybe a family matter came up. Maybe just a really bad social event happened that took me down for a long time. And so maybe even though I don't get everything that I want to do done, when we put these things into deictic frames, it gives us understanding that it's okay to fail. It's okay to have failed. It's okay to look out into the world and put a little bit of comprehension onto things that we normally wouldn't understand. So, thinking back to what we talked about last time with the subjective experience, we talked about the McCullough effect and how neurons can be reprogrammed to interpret the physical, real world around us in our own unique perspective. We can look and say, me here now had these traumas. Me here now never used to see the world this way because of this thing that happened. Me in school 20 years ago, maybe I was a higher achiever. Maybe I didn't have those traumas yet. Maybe certain things wouldn't yet set me off and hold me down. And it can go the other way too, where I can learn positive things that change me in a different way. Or maybe I witness a great act of kindness, or I find a role model who is able to encourage me in subtle ways to be a different and better person in the world. And so I can look back and say, me there a year ago hadn't yet had those experiences. Me in school 20 years ago didn't have a teacher yet who had the patience to demonstrate these qualities of humanity. But me here now does have those things. And similarly, we can look at other people and remember that they are different. Their genes and what they're susceptible to, and their phenotype based on their experiences in the world and how those experiences shape them in combination with their genes, we can say, well, even though you experienced the same thing or something very similar, it's okay that you have a different perspective because the me here now is a uniquely me person. The you here now is a uniquely you person, and that's okay.